Hey everybody, welcome to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. Let's get right down to your questions about the world of wrestling. I know a John Cena heel turn is not likely to happen, but I'm seeing CM Punk being way over with the crowd as of late. Maybe becoming the #1 babyface and having Cena the #1 heel to change up things a little bit. The John Cena heel turn, I get that question asked probably more than anything else. It's unlikely to happen, at least in the near future. As long as John Cena's selling merchandise, as long as he's drawn the kids and the women, as long as they're still behind him, WWE is not going to change his character. Now, as far as CM Punk goes, he is on a major role right now. He is the WWE champion, and he is way over with the male audience, but as long as John Cena is the babyface of WWE, CM Punk's always going to be #2. I just don't see them switching the roles and putting Cena, as the second babyface. It's just not going to happen. Hey Aaron, my question is, out of all the Hell in a Cell matches, which was your favorite? Speaking of Hell in a Cell, don't you think it's unfair that Mankind never won one? I thought for sure he would have against Kane after the Undertaker match. Well, I don't even remember if he won one or not. I mean, they had a bunch of them on Raw in 1998, 1999. They were doing a lot of Hell in a Cell matches on TV. But it doesn't matter if he won or not. What matters is if people remember his big moment, and they do. Mick Foley flying off the cage, it doesn't matter if he won or lost. And the fact that he kept coming back, the fact that he proved just how tough he was, meant more than winning a match. People said, wow, this guy, how did he survive? How did he fall off the cage twice and then go through the cage and then get up on his feet and walk? So, I mean, that's what really got him over with the fans, not so much winning or losing a match. And as far as my favorite match, I love the Undertaker-Mankind match, but my favorite is still the original. I think that set a standard so high, and nobody's been able to top it since. I mean, Shawn Michaels was bumping like crazy for the Undertaker. It was everything you'd want in a cage match: blood, lots of violence, Michaels flying off the cage, and it told a great story with Undertaker getting his payback on Michaels, and Michaels somehow winning the match thanks to the outside interference of Kane. And, Kane's debut, very memorable. One of the best matches in WWE history definitely was that first Hell in a Cell match. Why did WWE decide to go PG in 2008? Well, this kind of goes back to earlier with Cena. When John Cena started becoming a big star around 2005, 2006, the women and children started, the amount of people watching in terms of the female viewership and the kid viewership, it went way up with John Cena. I mean, his character, this superhero, larger-than-life persona, really attracted those audiences. And, around 2008, WWE decided that with all these new people watching the product, that maybe they should tone it down a little bit. And especially with no WCW, their attitude is, what's the point in doing all this violent stuff and getting the sponsors angry? What's the point? So they want to keep the sponsors happy. They worked out a deal with Mattel, so that's just the direction that they went in. And I know people complain about it all the time, but like I said, it's not so much what the rating is. What matters is the quality of the product and the storytelling and the characters and all that stuff. I mean, WWE was very entertaining in the late 80s, and it was a product geared towards kids. So there you go. Hey Aaron, longtime follower. My question is, what did you think of The Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness and Corporate Ministry? I personally think that the ministry was great, but the corporate ministry was a little too much. I agree with you. The thing I liked about the Ministry of Darkness is that Undertaker was always changing up his character, and that's why I think it was so successful for 20 years, because he always evolved it and made it a little bit different than how it was before. And yeah, I mean, the problem with the corporate ministry is it was just too much. You look at TNA right now with the all the stables and factions. You had Immortal merge with Fortune at one point, and that was Vince Russo. And back when it was Ministry of Darkness and Corporate Ministry, that was also Vince Russo. And he went overboard with the factions and stables and all that. So yeah, and I think the corporate ministry only lasted like a month. I mean, it was ridiculous. They formed, I think, like in June when Vince became the higher power. It's me, Austin. It's me all along. And then a month later, Vince was fired, or what was the storyline? It was something with Steve Austin where Vince had to leave, and then he was back a month later, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Aaron, great work with no DQ. When, if ever, do you think Kevin Nash will stop reminding the WWE Universe about his biggest pop of the night at the 2011 Royal Rumble? Also, do you consider him a relevant or necessary part of WWE today? Well, he's always going to reference that biggest pop of the night because that's probably the only big pop that he's ever going to get again. And he's going to use that. He's going to milk it into the ground, run it right into the ground. He wants to, give him his spot back in WWE, essentially. If nobody reacted to him, he probably would not be on TV right now. And, yeah, I don't really consider him relevant or necessary because if he was gone, nobody would really care, would they? I mean, I think people would just go right on with whatever they're watching. I mean, Kevin Nash's biggest years were in the late 90s, and really he hasn't met much since WCW started going downhill. When they did the finger point of doom, Nash has really been more harm to the business than good. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on the move, the Spine Buster, and who do you think pulls it off the best? Well, you got to give credit to Arn Anderson with the Spine Buster. He's the guy that really made it a move that people talked about and always wanted to do in their backyard feds or whatever, or when they're training to be a wrestler. So, but The Rock does a great Spine Buster, and I'm sure there's other good ones out there. But either Arn Anderson's or The Rock's. I'm sure The Rock's paying homage to Arn Anderson when he does it. So, I think the all-time best, you have to go with Arn Anderson. What is your favorite Undertaker era, taking into account both his gimmick and ring work throughout different periods? Well, going back to earlier, character-wise, I think his best period was around the time he was doing the Ministry of Darkness, like the late 98, early 1999. And in terms of his ring work, I think 2007, when he had his matches with Batista and Edge and Shawn Michaels at the Rumble. The Undertaker was having one great match after another. So, and he was in really good shape, and that would be and that was like his last glory period too, before his body really started falling apart on him. So yeah, I would go with 2007 or character-wise, Ministry of Darkness period. Why did WWE give Hardcore Holly a WWE title shot at the Royal Rumble in 2004? He didn't really do much in the company. In my opinion, he didn't deserve it. Well, I think he was just a body, basically. The situation was Brock Lesnar injured Bob Holly in a match, and Bob Holly was gone for an extended period of time. I don't know if it was 6 months or 8 months. It was something like that. So they had a built-in storyline right there. Hardcore Holly coming back to get his revenge on Brock Lesnar. So they just decided to have it as a filler match at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, Holly wasn't going to win, and Lesnar was going to be champion. So they just did that match so Lesnar had an opponent that he could look impressive against. So that was the reason they did it. Who do you think will have the more successful wrestling career, Daniel Bryan or Zack Ryder? Well, I know some people aren't going to agree with this, but I'm going to have to say Zack Ryder because when it all comes down to it, WWE is entertainment, and Ryder is extremely charismatic and entertaining. And as good as Daniel Bryan is as a technical wrestler, that's only going to get you so far in the world of WWE and sports entertainment. So I do think both guys have their best years ahead of them, though. So I think Bryan will, at some point, probably get a world title run, and probably Zack Ryder, too. I mean, both of them have a lot of years ahead of them, so we'll see. And like I said, keep subscribing, keep spreading the word, youtube.com/NoDQ&AV. And on that note, we'll see you next time.